The super low-slung Honda NSX glides along the road. Fans have had to wait more than a decade for the new edition of this super sports car. Now it's finally out and packed with hybrid technology. Mata says automakers normally use hybrid technology to save fuel. The whole driving experience can sometimes suffer in the process, but the Honda NSX is different. Here, hybrid technology has not been used to save fuel primarily, but to increase the fun factor. That's his kind of hybrid. The combination of a V6 twin-turbo mid-engine and 3 electric motors delivers a stonking 429 kilowatts of power. Matas finds most super sports cars tend to be a little too responsive on the gas pedal. You touch it even just slightly and the car starts to buck like a wild bull. But the Honda NSX is not only a lot more smooth, it also offers varying drive modes. So you can switch to the quiet mode if you want a more relaxed drive. And thanks to the hybrid technology, you can glide in or out of your driveway without a sound if it's early in the morning or late at night and you don't want to disturb the neighbors.
Der Hybridtechnik zunutze macht, indem man dann ganz geräuschlos, zum Beispiel morgens früh oder spät abends aus oder in die Einfahrt rollen kann, ohne dann unangenehm aufzufallen in der Nachbarschaft.
With a height of just over 1.20 meters, the NSX is one of the lowest and most streamlined sports cars out there. The cockpit is well to the front. The body contours are as sharp as a blade. Gaping side vents help to underline the sporty, aggressive look. "19-inch wheels and a huge braking system serve to bring the whole thing to a speedy halt if necessary. All in all, it's a car that will definitely turn heads. The interior is very much tailored to the needs of the driver, and there aren't many control buttons to worry about while driving. The NSX is only available with a 9-speed double-clutch transmission. And don't even bother looking for a gear stick. Matas has to admit he's pretty fussy about the interior of his cars. He wants everything to not just look good, but feel good too. Unfortunately, he finds that Japanese cars often look fine, but when you run your hands over the inside, it feels cheap. But the Honda NSX not only looks stunningly beautiful, it also feels great too. The materials are really high quality and the layout is very attractive. With the different materials that have been used, it's top-notch. The price tag is also top-notch. The NSX will set you back 180,000 euros in Germany, but it has a top speed to match, blasting to 308 kilometers per hour. Matas says it feels like the car is gliding on rails. The 2 electric motors at the front pull the car in exactly the direction you want. It's really not bad at all. There's no hint of over or under steering, and the way the car takes bends is great. He's driven a lot of cars, and a lot of fast cars too, but this takes things to a new level. But then the NSX isn't just a sports car for the road, of course. It's also been built for the racetrack.
NSX ist natürlich als Supersportwagen nicht nur für die Landstraße gebaut, sondern auch für die Rennstrecke.
So Matas goes to the Estoril circuit in Portugal, where a right-hand drive NSX with racing tires awaits. Matas has his left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas. He has launch mode ready, and all he needs to do is release the brake.
Passiert Folgendes.
You can watch the smile on the driver's face grow as the car sprints to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3 seconds. Mata says when you're on the racetrack, you have to switch driving modes. The standard one is Sport. You need to select either Sport Plus for a bit more fun or Track for a lot more fun. The ESP is reduced by half, so it kicks in a lot later. The engine goes from a purr to a roar, and you can really let rip. Reducing the ESP makes it possible for the driver to use drift, a key racing technique. And thanks to assistance from the electric motors, drifting is made a lot easier for someone who's not used to doing it every day. The challenge with drifting is that you risk losing control of the car, but the front axle's two electric motors pull the car exactly in the direction you're steering, and that makes drifting a lot easier with the NSX, making it heaps more fun and of course safer to boot.
Einfacher hier im NSX und erhöht natürlich Fahrspaß und Sicherheit gleichermaßen.
The NSX is almost flat to the ground, but the driver still doesn't feel every bump in the road. The performance is breathtaking. As of today, Mattes has changed his mind. Honda can't just make small, safe, economical cars. It can also produce a super sports car. It's really good.
Die können tatsächlich auch Supersportwagen. Echt gut.
But only a select group of customers is likely to ever enjoy the NSX. Apart from the price tag, the cars are built by hand, and the plan is to produce only a limited number each year. If you were thinking of buying a station wagon, the Citroen C5 Tourer is probably not the first thing that would spring to mind. But could it be a genuine alternative to the leading cars in the segment? Emanuel Schaefer is keen to find out. He says the car he's testing uses a 2-liter diesel engine with 133 kilowatts and 180 horsepower. And he can certainly feel that. It really moves. The version he's testing is an automatic with 6 gears, allowing you to just glide along with the traffic without having to keep changing gears. So it's ideal for those who do lots of driving. The C5 can move from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 9.7 seconds and has a top speed of 219. The C5 is equipped with Citroen's Hydractive 3 Plus suspension, which automatically adjusts the ride height to suit the road surface. But adjustments can also be made by pressing this button, so Emanuel can set it high or very low, or anywhere in between. The C5 also has a sports setting, which gives you a more dynamic suspension. When sport mode is activated, the C5 has a lot more grip on corners, and the driving experience is definitely more fun. The exterior has sleek lines which give it an elegant look, made a little more dynamic by the headlights. But in profile, it still kept the typical station wagon shape. Emanuel has decided to try out the back seat, and as he expected, there's plenty of leg room. There's a hand width of space still left, and the front seat is slanted in here, so there's a comfortable amount of room for your knees.
Also, das passt.
The trunk offers nearly 533 liters of space up to the ledge here, where you can pull out the cover. But what Emanuel finds really interesting is the Hydractive 3 Plus suspension, which allows you to move the rear axle up and down to make it easier for loading and unloading cargo.
Wie es einem gerade beliebt oder wie man es halt braucht, Sachen ein- oder auszuladen.
This only works when the car is at a standstill, of course. As soon as you start the engine, the height is automatically adjusted to match the front axle. All in all, Emanuel thinks the C5 is definitely a success. The only thing that disturbs him slightly is the controls in the middle. The steering wheel turns, but they all stay in the same place, which takes some getting used to. One time, Emanuel nearly trapped his finger while turning the steering wheel. But otherwise, he finds it an extremely comfortable car to drive. The suspension irons away all the bumps in the road, and the seats are also really comfortable. In fact, it's so comfortable, he says, you might not want to drive it if you were very tired, as you could be asleep in no time. Prices for the C5 Tourer start at just over 33,000 euros. Our test car, which came with the exclusive trim level and a 133 kilowatt diesel engine, will cost you at least 42,000 euros. Daimler has unveiled a futuristic concept car, the Vision Mercedes Maybach 6. Mercedes says the 2+2-seater pays homage to the glory days of the Aero Coupés and consciously carries that tradition forward. The electric vehicle is almost 6 meters long and has an output of 550 kilowatts. 3 years after launching the 3 GT, BMW is giving the model a facelift. The new 3 GT looks much sportier. There's a choice of 3 gasoline and 5 diesel engines. They're turbocharged and more powerful than their predecessors, and BMW claims they're up to 14% more efficient than previous models. Small Formula racing cars and cheering students come together at the Formula Student in Germany. 111 teams from universities all over the world met at Hockenheim this year. But winning isn't everything here. One student says being successful at the end of the season is obviously a worthwhile goal, and that's also important for motivating the team and helping you to feel enthusiastic about the next season. But what he likes is the whole atmosphere at the Formula Student events. You get to talk with the other teams and discuss various technical issues. If he has a problem, he loves to go to all the other teams. He always finds someone who can help. The events are not primarily about racing. The cars have all been built by the students. A huge jury made up of representatives from the automotive industry judges the results, looking at technical application, functionality, and practicality. Jury member Stefan Guy says there are top teams here who work very professionally. Some of the technology is high-end, where you ask yourself how they managed it. But there are also teams with very basic designs, and they still get their car running. There, too, it's fascinating to see how they know all the ins and outs of their car. The vehicles are really put through their paces. One of the trials involves an acceleration test. Car handling exercises on a wet circuit also show how good the designs are in practice. The Formula Student is very much about teamwork. One student says the team doesn't just build a car, it's more like setting up a mini business. Every year, his team is composed of around 60 people. They also have to take care of marketing and organizational matters. Then there's project management. It's a complex project that they have here, especially with the marketing and liaising with sponsors. Between tests, the students keep working on the cars. There's always room for improvement. Philip Gottlieb says the students are working on technology of the future that could later be sold. His team has built an electric racing car. He believes they'll play an important role in e-mobility because they're helping to get young engineers familiar with the technology. And he and his team members will probably be the engineers who will later build these cars. Leading lights in the automotive industry take a similar view and have come here to look for potential employees. Volkswagen's Martin Rosig says there are engine specialists here, mechanical engineers. All the IT jobs are represented, business and economics, all the kind of people that Volkswagen needs. VW also sponsored several teams. Sponsoring here involves more than just financial help. It's about sharing expertise. Matthias Tiesler says the sponsors work closely with the team. At the start of the season, during the design phase, they try to get together with their sponsors. The sponsors also offer a lot of support during the production phase, making sure the parts the students design can be produced and that the ideas from the sponsor are incorporated early on in the process.
Und wir schon so früh wie möglich Ideen der Sponsoren auch mit einbringen können.
The automotive industry also puts up a number of prizes. Mercedes awarded a prize for the best electric car, singling out the engineers who could well be the ones to build the emissions-free car of the future. Anyone who's ever used a Mercedes Sprinter for a move knows just how much furniture can fit inside. But this Heimer car isn't your standard multi-purpose Sprinter. It's a fully equipped camper van that was developed by Heimer and Mercedes, designed to meet your every need while on holiday. Our car tester Michelle Assenmacher is trying out the Grand Canyon S. It's based on the Mercedes Sprinter and has tailor-made furniture from Heimer. The vehicle is 5.93 meters long and seats 4 people. The seats can be arranged around a table. There's plenty of storage space thanks to the many cupboards, but the vehicle never seems cramped due to a well-designed interior. We all tend to take lots of stuff on holiday, but there are enough drawers for storing everything. But to ensure nothing goes flying around the van while driving, the drawers come with special catches to lock them. All you need to do is push the buttons.
Und schon kann nichts mehr passieren.
The Grand Canyon S is also fitted with a small kitchen, so no one needs to go hungry. There's a hob with 2 rings under this cover and a small sink. And there's a tall fridge besides the kitchen unit, offering plenty of space. And of course, no camper van is complete without a toilet and a shower. They're located here. The basin is fitted onto the side wall and can be folded away to save space. It comes with a pull-out water tap that can also be used for showering. Michelle points out there's a shower curtain to prevent everything from getting wet. What more could you ask for? The Grand Canyon S also comes with comfy mattresses, unlike many other camper vans where seating areas double up as beds.
The Grand
Canyon S is cleverly laid out. Michelle demonstrates another space-saving feature. The van's rear can be quickly transformed into a cozy bed for 2. And in summertime, you can look through the rear doors onto the sea while you're nodding off.
Kann ich sogar auf das Meer blicken und dabei einschlafen.
Michelle likes the Grand Canyon S a lot. She finds regular camper vans just too big for people her age. But this smaller van is really to her liking.
Dagegen trifft genau meinen Geschmack.
And so there's a camper van for every taste. Smaller and more agile vans like this one are beginning to match up to the bigger ones in terms of features. And they weigh less. So in many countries, no special driver's license is necessary. Only 178 of these vintage models were ever built, and auto enthusiast Andreas Moser is lucky enough to own one. This BMW 319-1 dates from 1936. He says it's important to keep both hands on the wheel, if only because the vehicle is pretty sensitive when it comes to over or understeering.
Durch Übersteuern oder Untersteuern relativ schnell empfindlich reagiert.
The BMW 319 debuted in 1934 with a then new 1.9-liter 6-cylinder engine. It looked identical to its predecessor, the 315-1 Sport, but boasted an additional 15 horsepower. The 319 cost a cool 6,000 Reichsmarks, a princely sum back then, nearly 4 times what an average worker earned in a year. Andrea says the way the BMW logo is connected to the 2 grills is typical of BMW. Everything on this car is absolutely original. Here are the lights, which all date to the pre-war period. That's why it's missing a certification seal. Andreas really likes the car's almost open style and what's called a H-style shifter. He stows his tools here. The kit consists largely of original items. He likes the car's contours in particular, especially the way they look when studied from the side. The wheel housings are also covered. They lend an aerodynamic touch that prevents the tires from vibrating. This BMW didn't always glisten the way it does today. Andreas restored it himself and knows every screw and knob. Apparently, the vehicle was ripe for restoration because it had been involved in a car accident. As such, many parts were broken. The car had to be completely rebuilt. The frame was set on wooden dollies. He had to bring in an expert to refashion the wood. But that wasn't the hardest part of the restoration. The most demanding part for Andreas was actually examining the engine. One major issue was that back when the car was built, different bearing shells were used in the crankshaft. He didn't want to install any previously used pieces. He wanted instead to use something made of modern materials. The significant restoration work on the engine and the body was worth it. After a total of 14 years working on the BMW, the 319-1 today almost looks like a brand new car. Yet it doesn't seem over-restored. Prices for a model in such good condition as this one will set you back around €250,000. On the weekend, Andreas takes part in vintage car events, and the vehicle isn't spared the wear and tear of such trips. Andreas drives it to such events rather than getting it transported. He wants to enjoy every moment he can at the wheel. He loves the sound of the engine and the views of his surroundings because it's a convertible or a roadster. You can appreciate nature and speed more in a car like this than you would in one of today's modern cars. He took the car to a BMW Veteran Club event in the Austrian Alps. The cars embark on a 300-kilometer journey. Any BMW older than 1981 is eligible to take part in the drive. Stars big and small from BMW editions of the past took part, including the legendary BMW Isetta. The 319-1 runs with the best of BMW's many vintage models. The car delivers 55 horsepower through its straight six-cylinder engine, and it weighs a mere 780 kilograms. Top speed is 135 kilometers per hour. The 319 is considered the first sports car for the road that was also used on the racetrack. But the car is not perfect, and there are some detailing issues that Andreas Moser has noticed in his work on the car. For example, a problem with the gas tank makes driving up hills problematic. Andreas explains how the production mistake is visible. The tank is trapezoid-shaped. This is the line connecting the oil filter, and then this connects to the pump. When he drives up a hill, the tank rotates, and as a result, the gas pools at the rear of the tank and doesn't flow the way it should. If you're unlucky, he adds, a steep incline can cause the gas flow to cease and the engine to turn off. Andreas knows every wrinkle of his BMW. His tour and the drive back home went off without a hitch. He tries to clock up at least 8,000 kilometers every year with his 319-1 because, like many of his fellow vintage car buffs, he feels these cars should see the open road as often as possible.